Brother Ron, and welcome to We All Be News Radio and TV, the news-free Dixie for the 21st century.
They have every expectation to know that they're going to be able to pick their child up when that school day ends. And there are families who are in mourning right now, and the state of Texas is in mourning with them for the reality that these parents are not going to be able to pick up their children. Our job is multifold. First, to make sure we address exactly what happened at this crime scene, and then second, to make sure we take that information and do everything that is necessary to ensure that crime scenes like this are not going to be repeated in the future, and that we're going to be able to ensure the safety and security of our schools.
I like the way the governor actually put his words together there. He made some great points.
President Abbott in 2024, it's election year. I mean, it sounds so cynical, right? You know, first thing that people think about is gun laws and gun control. But like the criminals don't respect laws. And a lot of times it's the criminals that set the policy, that make the law. It's mob rule mentality. So, I mean, it is unfortunate, man. I feel sorry. I'm thinking about that father. I mean, to be that cool, calm, and collective, not knowing what happened to your loved one. I mean, I could not be him. I could not be on the air right now talking this calmly. And I'm surprised he didn't say anything about we need to make more stringent gun laws, because that'll make me question the motives behind this type of stuff. And I want to clarify on the grandmother. He said shot the grandmother. He didn't say the grandmother died. So maybe she tried to alert the authorities, or I don't know. This is kind of weird. But look at his eyes, the soulless. I want to know what's on his playlist. I want to know what type of music he was, because everybody, I really believe social media has made everybody a potential Manchurian candidate, because people be so triggered by like silly things, to me, very asinine things people been triggered by. So
this guy looked like Bruce Lee's son in The Crow. Like, and that was a very depressive movie. Like,
Brandon Lee died. Somebody put a live one in the gun. But he's been on a mission. I think he's under mind control. I don't think I know he was under mind. Look at all the shooters. Look at the one from Buffalo. Look at the one at the movie theater in Colorado. Look how their eyes look. Look at Dylan Roof.
Demonic.
What's in their playlist?
Empty eyes. And Ron, oh my God, horrific. I want to go back to Governor Abbott, because that was the end part of the video. Let me play the beginning of when the governor of Texas started to speak to the people there in Uvalde, Texas.
First, I want to tell you that what happened in Uvalde is a horrific tragedy that cannot be tolerated in the state of Texas. And there is swift action being taken by local law enforcement as well as the Texas Department of Public Safety. They obviously now know who the shooter was, and the shooter is no longer alive. Let me give you some details, and then I'll give you a summation about that. The shooter was Salvador Romas, an 18-year-old male who resided in Uvalde. It's believed that he abandoned his vehicle and entered into the Robb Elementary School in Uvalde with a handgun, and he may have also had a rifle, but that is not yet confirmed according to my most recent report. He shot and killed horrifically, incomprehensibly, 14 students and killed a teacher. Mr. Romas, the shooter, he himself is deceased and is believed that responding officers killed him. It appears that 2 responding officers were struck by rounds but have no serious injuries. The Uvalde Consolidated Independent School District Police Department is the investigating agency, and we will provide them and the city of Uvalde substantial investigative and patrol assistance. We're in the process of obtaining detailed background information on the subject, his motive, the types of weapons used, the legal authority to possess them, and conduct a comprehensive crime scene investigation and reconstruction, and identify and interview all witnesses and provide victim services and other support as needed. Victor Escalon is the Texas Department of Public Safety South Texas Regional Director. He is on the scene, and everything that can be done will be done. In addition to that,
prayers out to those families and everybody in that school system. Just sad, Ron.
It's gonna be a long summer for not just them, but the nation. We got the Memorial Day weekend coming up, where you God bless the dead, and then you got 4th of July, all these holidays, vacations that were planned. But you know, as they say, I ain't gonna say God was laughing at this moment, but you make these plans, you never know what's gonna happen from the next moment to moment in a nanosecond. Your life can change and get flipped upside down. So thoughts and prayers go out to the people, the survivors, and everybody. But you know, just politicians ain't gonna waste a good sacrifice. You know, there's gonna be a lot of interesting things with this gun control. And Texas, you don't mess with Texas because you won't come out alive. The Texas, they'll lay you down.
There's some good old boys out there in Texas. That's right. Now, guys, so that was breaking news, but we all know today we have a special guest. He's been on the show twice, Mr. Andrew Wyatt, PR and crisis manager for Bill Cosby. He is about to join the show. Yeah. But Ron, as per usual, we got to hit the intro first. Here we are.
Woo. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing, Kara? How you doing, Ron? You know, I'm doing fine, man. This is a difficult day because you know, Kara, I didn't know of the news until you emailed me. I was sitting in court.
Wow.
And so you was breaking news for me, and then I looked at my phone, and you know, it's kind of hard now to talk about a case like this when people have lost their lives, especially children. You know, and I, you know, I love coming on your show, and you know, but this is kind of difficult, you know, for me because you know I have a 26-year-old daughter and I have a 1-year-old grandson, Christian Andrew, and you know I can only imagine what people are going through. And as you and Ron said so eloquently, you know, these holidays are coming up and vacations were planned. And this reminds me of the time when the Rodney King riots were happening, and Mayor Bradley, which I'm in Los Angeles, first black mayor of Los Angeles, it was on a Thursday night. He told people, why don't you go home and watch the Cosby Show because we need healing. And right now we need some healing. And, you know, and it's kind of hard for me to be it makes me feel like I'm being selfish to come and talk about a civil trial, although it's important with Mr. Cosby. A lot of people don't know about it, but you know, I think it's just a time where, you know, I remember the speech watching it on YouTube that Robert Kennedy gave in Indianapolis where MLK was murdered, and he told everybody, "Put your hand signs down." And it's a time that we have to stop this hate, you know, and this hate speeches as we see in America today. You know, and it's not getting us anywhere, the hate that we see on social media, the hate and the vitriol that we see, you know, in our neighborhoods, and, you know, and how, you know, the country seems to come together when we see a mass shooting at a synagogue or a temple. But we don't really come together when we see it in our communities, because the Black, brown, and indigenous community don't get the type of support and long-term prayer that we see in other communities. And I don't want to make this about race or anything, but you know, I just think it's just a time where, you know, I always tell people you could put all the gun laws and try to stop the NRA, but it's not guns that kill people, it's people that kill people.
That's right.
You know, and when we have a tendency to want to blame the gun, it's the person who you sold the gun to. You know,
Absolutely.
back home, I see these young guys in Birmingham, Alabama. I don't care what city you live in.
Mhm.
Crime is up anywhere. You know, crime is up in some of the most small places that you could ever imagine because so many people are running away from these metropolis and they're coming down south now.
Right.
And they're bringing some of those type of heinous acts. But I see young, I don't know how they get them, man. I don't see young 15, 60-year-olds with AR-15s.
Mm.
And they're posting
Crazy.
them up on their, but they're posting them up on their websites and
Mhm.
social media. And you know, social media should have this platform to say the minute you start posting that type of ammunition, you're under surveillance. Isn't that the purpose of social media to have everyone under a watchful eye?
Mhm.
Um, it's just sad. And now,
Mm.
you know, I know we have a lot going on, but look, uh, this is, you know, this is a civil trial where we all have our lives. These
Mhm.
little children won't get their lives back. These parents would be hunted forever because of, and you know, I think what we got to do, we got to come together some way, and we got to quit this division. And prayer is so important. But you
Mhm.
know, like they said, work without faith is nothing. And
Mhm.
and now we just have to ask. I think we have to ask the Creator for, you know, understanding. You know, because that's where we're at right now, trying to gain some form of understanding. So I thank you for having me on the show. But it would be hard for me to really talk about Bill Cosby right now,
Mm.
I
you
have to
know,
be
at this
honest.
moment.
Yeah, it did seem kind of, even, me and Ron prepping for the show, and it just kind of took the wind out of my sails. I mean, because
Well, you
it's
know,
an
look,
elementary school.
well, it's children, and you know, we all got cousins, nephews. If you don't have your own children, you
Hmm.
know, or we know children, you know, these are people who went to the elementary school probably bragging about what they're going to do over the summer,
Right.
you
Right.
know.
Mhm.
And Ron put it, he said it when he said that, that hit me like a ton of bricks because
Yeah.
you know how we went to school, we couldn't wait until, man, we're gonna go to the Six Flags, we're gonna go somewhere, you know, somewhere that we know our parents didn't have a lot of money, but we were
Right.
doing something.
That's
I don't
right.
care if we were gonna get on our bikes and make a ramp and jump the creek or the ditch. We were gonna do
Mhm.
something over the summer that we got prepared for. And
Yeah.
it makes me reflect back to my childhood to say, wow, I remember all of those plans. And kids don't, you know, adults, we could think about unfortunate circumstances, so we're always careful to say, we always say, if it's God's will, I'll be able to do this, you know, if it's the
Mhm.
Lord's will. But as adults, kids don't think that way. You know, they just think about, I want to have fun. And there's a lot of kids that are not going to have fun right now. So
Mhm.
I appreciate everyone's support, but this is just, in my opinion, not a time to talk about Bill Cosby. I think it's a time for you guys to get back to your show and give some reflection and bring some comfort, because the way you guys were talking, I saw people chiming in. I just enjoy watching it, and bring some comfort to people, and just a little hope,
Mhm.
just a little hope, a little inspiration. And, you know, these are people who would never get their loved ones back. These are children who had aspirations, and not that they have aspirations, their parents had aspirations for them.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And I think that's what you guys should get back to. You know, we're fine over here. And we're okay over here. We could get media attention at any given day. And Kara, I just appreciate you and Ron for always your support. But I think you guys need to get back to what's most important, and just bringing some answers and healing to this country.
Well, and brother Andrew, I agree to disagree with you on that one, because I can remember, as you say all that, that about almost 60 years ago when we lost our President JFK, there was a Jet magazine that talked about with the civil rights leaders. You had some of the most prominent thinkers and activists should we suspend the movie because JFK lost his life in Dallas? No, he did a speech the night before Medgar Evers was killed, talking about his commitment to civil rights, JFK, and that happened in June of '63 with Medgar. Then a couple months later, you lost the president, United States, and it's bigger than that. It's like what Dr. John Henry Clark said, who was a research person for Brother Malcolm X. You got to bury the man and continue to plan. And Black folks been catching hell this country ever since we got here. This weekend also marks the anniversary of the Black Wall Street massacre. So we know what it's like to live in hell in America. We're about celebrating the dream. We're living the nightmare.
Well, hey,
you know,
hey,
so
I can't argue with you on that.
Ron,
Well, Ron. I'm working. Matter of fact, you mentioned Black Wall Street,
right?
And we just came up on the 100. We're coming up on the 101 anniversary of Black Wall Street.
Weekend. Yes, sir.
Upcoming weekend, and I'm working on a movie called Heroes of Black Wall Street with Danny Glover as a consultant. We have the script, and we've been shopping the script around. We did last year. We worked with Rick Wade. He's the only Black with the United States Chamber of Commerce, Obama's former senior advisor, who was at the White House with Obama. We had Danny Glover to come on his in commemoration show. It was done virtually last year. So I'm with you on that. Look, like I say, this assassination and this hate that we have white people, and not all Jews, but a lot of the Jews who are pushing this type of hate. They're the ones feeling this hate. They're the ones, who have the resources and entertainment to show this form of hate that we're seeing. And it's the same, I call this trial that's happening with Mr. Cosby a trial by assassination. Right. It's the way, as you mentioned, they tried to assassinate him by putting him in prison for 2 years and 10 months, hoping he would be murdered. Now they're trying to assassinate him by taking away his livelihood. And it's the same assassination where sometimes they don't do it with a bullet like they did for MLK, like they did for Malcolm X, like they did for Medgar Evers, like they hung and shot and did everything to Emmett Till. Right. The way they assassinate Black people now is destroying your legacy and your character. And that destroys the Black family, especially when you're a Black man. Look, think about it. This man's son was assassinated right here in L.A. Almost 20 plus years ago. Right. You take his namesake, and then during the 2018 trial, he had a daughter that passed away at 43 years old from renal failure. It's all of those things, and you're saying, man, how can this man be so resilient and still get on the phone and tell you it's going to be okay and giving us humor? And we see this woman with this hatred in her heart for Black men, Gloria Allred, who cares nothing about Black, brown, or indigenous people. And you understand why we have shootings like these happening. You have a president who always get out and say, well, the country needs to heal and we need to stop the hate. But you're not saying totally stop the hate, because you'll be stopping this hate against Mr. Cosby right now. So I appreciate your words, and hey man, I'm glad to always be here to talk about it and inform the people, because we don't know who's next in our neighborhood. And when I say our neighborhood, there's a formula, a litmus test that's been tried, true, and tested with Bill Cosby. Now you could get LeBron James, you could get Barack Obama, you could get Michael Jordan. They're wiping out our Black male iconic figures, and they're doing it now with sex. But the same sex, drugs, and alcohol that these women partied with Aerosmith, Bon Jovi, Mick Jagger, they're not bringing those guys to court because they're saving the white legacy. It's to destroy the Black and brown and indigenous legacy. And that's why I'm in California. That's why I'm in Santa Monica. And trial starts June 1st. We've been in jury selection all week. And this is a woman who claims that almost 46 years ago, 46 years ago, that Mr. Cosby, not did anything where he sexual assaulted her or drugged her. She claims that she was on her cycle when he tried to put his hand down his pants, and then her pants, and then He said, well, just jack me off, just masturbate me.
Mhm.
Now, this is not about someone saying he drugged and raped me. This is someone who followed him to the Playboy Mansion. No evidence of proof. In California, there's a law that states if you were sexually molested or sexually assaulted as a minor and you repressed it, that you could bring criminal charges or a civil suit forward where the statute ran on the criminal. So she's bringing a civil suit forward. Now, if she really repressed it, she tried to sell her story before she brought it public and filed charges in 2014. In 2005, she tried to sell her story when he settled out of court with Andrea Constant in 2005. But, her case was able to be moved forward. And Judy Huth is a woman who, when you look at the evidence, you will see that she was a part of a racial gang. A lot of things. There's a lot of truth going to come out in this courtroom. And mainstream media has tried its best to keep this story silent and to keep this trial silent. Now, the judge did rule that Mr. Cosby.
Real quick, I just want to, I don't know if this is a picture of her. I think it is.
That's her. That's her.
Okay.
That's her. Yeah, that's her. And you saw the picture. You saw her early.
Yes, you pronounced her last name Huth. So Judy Huth, she alleges that the incident took place in 1975, but then she said her initial claim was wrong and that she was actually allegedly assaulted in 1974. Now, this would have made...
No. Let me correct you. Her first claim was that she was assaulted in 74.
Okay.
Then in the 11th hour last week, she changed it to 75.
Okay, yes.
Oh, let me ask you, where are the pictures with her as a 16-year-old with Bill Cosby? I mean, it's like she's not 16 in those pictures. Don't tell me that's
exactly.
I know white women age bad sometimes, but they're not a 16-year-old. Where's the one with her in the picture with Cosby as a kid at the kiddie pool? I want to know.
There's no pictures. There are no pictures.
I'm sorry.
I mean, I'm just like, this is weird.
There are no pictures.
Okay. Ron on one of them.
There are no pictures, Ron.
Look,
That's funny.
I agree with Dr. Cosby on that one. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's how he's looking right now.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
So this case, like you said, has been put on hold, and you guys tried to stop this once she kept changing the dates, correct?
Yeah, we did. Look, the person that was involved with this case with her, and they let him out, was Marty Singer, Mr. Cosby attorney at the time. Marty represents the Kardashian, Tom Cruise. He's very well known and famous out here in LA. The judge let him out of the case, but didn't let Mr. Cosby out of it. And basically, look, it was given a permanent stay because of his incarceration. When the incarceration was overturned and he was let out on June 30th of last year, Gloria Allred went back to the Superior Court and asked them to remove the stay, and Judge Carlin removed the stay. And here we are today. We still feel, we had arguments today in court. We believe that Mr. Cosby is innocent. We know he wasn't even at the Playboy Mansion. The judge reprimanded Playboy's attorney and gave her until tomorrow. She has to come up with a person most knowledgeable to authenticate the Playboy records, because they show that he was not at Playboy. He was shooting Let's Do It Again. And so this woman, like I said, in the 11th hour, and her star witness, which is her best friend, Donald Samuelson, have changed their entire timeline because the dates didn't match up. Nothing matched up with what they had given us.
So let me say this.
Go ahead.
So she alleged that she met Cosby actually while filming a movie at Lacey Park in San Marino, California.
Right.
And then she says that she accuses Cosby of sexually assaulting her at the Playboy Mansion when she was 16 or 17. I just want to give people that age again. And Bill would have been 37 years old around that time.
Right.
Okay.
Right. You look, and it don't measure up. and we know that. We have the proof to show it. Um, in my opinion, it should have been thrown out. When we filed a motion to sanction because he changed her story in the 11th hour last week, the judge should have thrown it out. Of course, he did not. They're going to be, we through jury selection. Jury selection has been very interesting because the jurors, I tell everybody, have been somewhat honest about their feelings about the case. And a lot of them excuse themselves from the case. Some said, look, I've never seen more young men and women who have been molested as children who said that I can't sit through a case like this. So we have right now maybe 120 jurors to strike. We will start striking them tomorrow, and we will probably have a jury, ready to be seated by Thursday. Court, a matter of fact, court is closed because of Memorial Day weekend. Right. And we will start trial on June 1st. Look, Mr. Cosby has maintained his innocence. He doesn't know anything about this. But the beauty of it is that he doesn't have to be at this trial. In a civil case, the defendant does not have to be there. The burden of proof is on the plaintiff. And look, he's blind, and getting him out here to LA when the COVID numbers are going back up out here. And remember, he was in prison, and it was over probably a total combined of 50 plus people died in that prison from COVID, and he never got COVID. So we just want to keep him safe and keep him healthy, and we think it's best that he not be here.
But Gloria Allred, she's like a Jewish gangster from Philadelphia. She does things that will make Myra Lansky and Buzzy Siegel blush. But I mean, she's an extortion artist. Right. I mean, she got no trial lawyer experience. It's all about blackmailing people. It sounds like her whole career's.
Well, that's what. Look, let me tell you this.
Allegedly.
This is no, alleged. But let me tell you this though, Ron. You hit the nail on the head. Do you know she's not trying this case at all?
She's not a trial lawyer, right? She never tried.
She's not. She just sits. All she does is sits in the courtroom at the plaintiff table. The people trying this case is her partner Nathan Goldberg and John West. Gloria doesn't even know how to object. She's never tried a case. She forces people to settle because she ruins you in the media. She ruins your career. And that's why Shaquille O'Neal settled with her, Tiger Woods, and so many other black men, because they want to keep their careers. We're not going to settle. We're not going to settle this. And Mr. and Mrs. Cosby said, I'm not giving them one red cent.
I mean, Gloria Allred is the pup daddy of lawyers, that sound like to me.
She is. She's a hustler.
Don't make no music, but you get all the money.
You get all the money, yeah. Just like Diddy. Hey, he got your catalog and everything, right?
Right. Biggie dead, Pop dead, Craig Mack dead.
Right.
People turn to Allah and Jesus, going to prison, turn themselves in for cold case murders, get away from Diddy.
But I want to show y'all something, because when I was going through social media, most people just felt like this accusation was totally ridiculous. Okay. This is an old comment by somebody, but I just want to bring it up because they hit the nail on the head. They say, if there's grass on the field, play ball. And I just feel like when it comes to Mr. Cosby, whatever side you're on, this has gotten to a point where it's just like, come on, man. Come on, all these people.
That's why I wanted to come on your show, Kara, because when you sent me the message, like, look, it seems like he's never going to get back out here again. Right. And, you guys had the opportunity to talk to him. That's not true. He is going to get back out here again. And he is going to sit down with people. He made the commitment to you guys by the phone. And I want him out here. Look, I would rather for him to tell his story. I love telling his story, but don't get me wrong. I want the world to hear from Mr. Cosby. I want Black America to hear from Mr. Cosby. I think it's important, and I think it's important for us to elevate shows like these. That's the whole plan. Not to elevate mainstream media. One thing I love about Mr. Cosby, when we were touring, he would not come into a city. He would tell the promoter, I'm not coming to the city until you purchase Black advertisement. Now, if you didn't, it was in his contract. if you didn't purchase black advertisement, you didn't promote his shows.
Mm-hmm.
You could not take him on tour. If you didn't go to the black newspapers, if you didn't go to the black shows or black radio, you were not taking Bill Cosby on tour. And that still rings true today. You know, I try to do shows like these to inform people and say, look, hey, it's not over yet. Our only objective of why we didn't get him to have him out here talking is very specific. Right now, with this trial looming, a civil suit, we said that he would invoke his Fifth Amendment privileges because his constitutional rights were taken away when he sat for a deposition and was given a deal. So we knew it would be some egregious district attorney who would be overzealous, trying to make a name for themselves to try to bring him on some criminal charges. So we want to get this case over with. And when we get it over with, you know, as Mr. Cosby said, look, the horse is in the barn, but the horse ain't kicking yet. But the horse will be kicking when this case is over with. And we want him to I want America to hear from him. And like I told him, when you come out here, we don't have to address no allegations. It's over and done with. I want people to hear from you and hear your wisdom. Because when we see shootings like these today, that's when we always needed a Bill Cosby to bring us some form of humanity and humor. And so that's what this is about. And we need Black people to be out here, you know, and not trying not to be on this jury. You know, so many Black people like, I don't want to do it. You know, I came up with, I got vacation. You know, we need your support. We need you out here. We need you out here when the trial starts. And out here in Santa Monica, look, Inglewood is not far away. Compton is not far away. South Central is not far away. Come out here and support this man who supported so many of you, who hundreds of thousands of people are recipients of scholarships to PWIs and HBCUs for because of Bill Cosby. And you mean to tell me you're not coming out here to support?
Well,
okay, I'm sorry.
I want to just a friend to the show, Dr. Boyce Watkins, actually posted this to Twitter recently, and I just wanted to read it. It says, Bill Cosby is being sued by a woman who says he groped her at the Playboy Mansion 48 years ago when she was 15 years old. Perhaps the person she should sue is the one who sent a 15-year-old child to a house of prostitution in the first place. So,
and he's so right. He's so right. She was from my understanding, this woman claims that she was a regular at the Playboy Mansion. You know, here's the thing. Why didn't Gloria already go after Hugh Hefner when he was alive? It was to protect their own. You know, because if it happened at if I had a party at my house and I brought in underage children and gave them alcohol, criminal charges would be filed against me. Well, Playboy should have been sued.
Well, what Paul Mooney left us with? He got the color for the protection of the collection.
Protection for the collection. Protection for the collection. But my thing is this, though. Here's my thing, bro. I don't know, bro, Andrew, when you got on to Bill Cosby be his publicist, but I know as early as 2014, I was advocating for Dr. Bill Cosby innocent, along with Baba Dick Gregory. He'll come on my show and talk about what was going on with his dear friend, you know, featuring stories. But also you had new Black media people like Nicole's View and Drew Story. They went to the trial on their own dime, as well as you got brother Gavin Richard, the attorney from New Orleans.
Gavin Richards. I want to do this. Yeah,
Gavin Richard.
Look,
right. But here,
I want to do this show tomorrow.
Though.
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to finish this point. The problem that Malcolm said he had with the Black press is the fact that we was always reacting to what the white media put out. We had a chance to get in front of this story about Dr. Bill Cosby. I believe the tide is turning right now with the Johnny Depp Amber Heard defamation case in Virginia. But we had a chance to protect him at the beginning, to get in front of this and control the narrative. And we missed that chance because I know I've been doing work, putting out Dr. Cosby, talking to people like Judge Joe Brown before anybody else to put that message about Dr. Cosby, how he felt about the case. You had a lot of supporters in the grassroots, not in the so-called old traditional media, but in the grassroots like Kara Dangerous and I, who would have been more than willing to put it all on the line for Dr. Cosby. We didn't gain anything out of this. We lost friends and family on social media got disinvited from cookouts, standing for Dr. Cosby. But yet, we was on the right side of history, though. But I don't know when you got on board, but I wish, because you talk about how you don't have a social media presence, and I think that's not the right way to think as a publicist. With all due respect to you, and you're a good brother, but I'm saying as a publicist, you should have a social media presence. Because Goya, I read, as spiteful as she is very media savvy. She's very.
Well, look, I would explain to you this way. I started representing Mr. Cosby and working with him in 2000, and that was in 11. I started working with Dick Gregory. Matter of fact, I have in my house Dick Gregory's Lifetime Achievement Award. He told me to hold for him that I got for him while representing the SCLC for 10 years.
Yes, sir.
And so
shut up, huh?
I have his Lifetime Achievement Award in my house.
No, that's how he would talk to folks.
He used to curse me out, but that's
yeah. He would call me. He would call me every morning and cuss me out for no reason.
That's right.
And he got on the phone with Mr. Cosby, and I have a picture. But he got on the phone with Mr. Cosby, and he said, Bill, this is the baddest nigga on the planet. You better keep him around. And he said, how old were you, Andrew, when you started with Cosby? I said, 37. He said, how old was Cosby? I said, 73. He said, look, what year you was born? I said, 73. He said, look, nigga, the numbers don't lie. And
dang, so hard.
That's worse than Kevin Samuels,
yeah, worse than Kevin Samuels. And Dick Gregory, man, the day he passed away, John Bellamy and his son Christian Gregory called me because he gave Bill Cosby his start at the Hungry Eye in San Francisco. He gave Bill Cosby and Barbara Streisand his start because he joined the Civil Rights Movement.
Right.
And so Mr. Gregory called, and we got him on. And Mr. Cosby said, "Dick, get out that bed, man. Okay, you got our attention. All right, man. Now we want to laugh. Get out the bed, man." He said, Bill, I love you, man. I love you, Andrew. So I love y'all. And then he said, I'm going to go get me some sun, man. I'm going to get out this bed. He got out the bed. I got the picture they sent me of him when he went in. They put him in a wheelchair. He went out the sun. And, man, he crashed an hour after we talked to him. And Mr. and Mrs. Cosby came to his funeral.
Yep.
And it was amazing, man. Dick Gregory was an amazing guy. But when you talk about social media presence, let me tell you my purpose behind that. I worked in the news business for 12 years. I worked for ABC and Fox. Fox was my last station. Started my firm in 2007. The reason why I started my firm is because, the news business taught me how to set people up like my own people. They taught me their game. I was sitting in the control room when the producer and sitting next to the director and the technical director of the TV, they would go and see a shooting into a Black community, and they were like, go get the worst looking person. Shooting in the white community, they were like, no, don't go talk to nobody because my family live in that community. Or a school shooting, my kid go to that school. So I started seeing the effects of social media taking Black people away from current events of the day. And I felt that I could be more valuable to the clients I represent and the people and the work that I'm doing right now without being sidetracked on trying to keep up with my own posts and trying to be engaging, because I need to be focused and primarily focused on being engaged into fighting this good fight. I went to a school, Miles College. It was a school where King used to have his meetings at the bottom of the LRC. It's a school where the Select and Buying campaign was started by Judge U.W. Clemens, who became a federal judge and appointed by Jimmy Carter. He was the SGA president at Miles. And a guy by the name of Frank Dukes, who's still a CME pastor today. Miles is a CME school. And most of my professors were civil rights leaders. Fred Shuttlesworth, who the Birmingham airport is named after, Reverend Shuttlesworth, who was an outlaw of the civil rights movement. I got to shake his hand, man, and touch his head and feel the lumps inside on his head where he was beat, And one thing that these guys, man, always taught me, they was like, look, I need you to stay steady on the case. And sometimes you can't stay steady on the case when you're sidetracked by a website and trying to be popular yourself. Because it's never about me. The moment I make it about me, I don't want to do it no more. I don't want it about me. I understand what people say. Well, you don't have a presence and you don't have this. Look, you could Google me. I'm out here every day. I helped the R. Kelly team from behind the scenes for 5 years. That's how Jennifer Bungine, our attorney on this civil matter, that's how she got the case. And I was helping them from behind the story, behind just because I've always been a behind the scenes guy. I
So
never
are you
wanted
trying
to
to
be
say
out
that
front.
you don't necessarily need to be out there on social media because you're handling business behind the scenes? I think Ron's concern was that maybe that could have been a wider scope of.
I mean, you're a publicist. I
No,
understand what you're saying, but
I,
you in the media business,
yeah,
you're supposed to be able to get in front of the story and
yeah. I hear
control
what I hear.
where they're going with
I
the
hear what
story. Yeah,
I hear what you're
I know
saying.
what you're
I hear
saying,
what
but
you're
you're a
saying, but
publicist guy,
I hear what you say. Well, I'm publicist, crisis manager. I do it all. But
right?
I hear what you're saying. But it's the way Kara found me,
Mhm.
and I'm responsive to everybody. At that time, when that happened, I was in D.C. with Mr. Cosby. We had put the art collection on loan, and
Mhm.
Mr. Cosby's publicist, who was with him, David Brokaw, who had been with him for 40 years.
Mhm.
David's father, Norman Brokaw, was the chairman and founder of William Morris.
Mhm.
He's the one that got Cosby, the Cosby Show. He was Cosby's agent.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, Norman gets sick. Norman gets sick. Nobody would have touched Cosby if Norman hadn't got sick. And let me go backwards. Let me go backwards and tell you
Mhm.
why we know and this is happening to Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
So in 2005, Bill Cosby, he settles out with Andrea Constand. Michelle Obama and Barack Obama will call him every day and ask for him to publicly endorse them. Mr. Cosby told Barack, I can't do it. I can't do it because I just settled with this woman. I don't want to bring any heat to you.
Right.
Barack said, look, we got a machine. We got a machine. You'll be okay. Cosby said, look, I want to protect you. I know what you're saying. I just think that they're gonna bring out how I settled with this white woman, and they're gonna hurt your efforts. So Michelle Obama used to call the house. People like Oprah had stayed at that Massachusetts house. Oprah and Stedman stayed there. Johnny Cochran forgot who he was in their gazebo at that Massachusetts house. Cicely Tyson and Miles Davis got married at that Massachusetts property. Um, and so Cosby was giving him a lot of wisdom. Well, then fast forward, Cosby decides because Norman gets sick. They knew he didn't have the protection because Norman Brokaw is the icon, controls everything,
Mhm.
and they knew Cosby didn't have the protection. Norman gets sick. Then it's 2014, summer 2014. Mr. Cosby calls me up. He said, "Look, man, um, I can't get in touch with David. David ain't taking my calls."
Mm.
And I said, "What do you mean?" He's in Maine touring. He's about to do a comedy show. He said, "Can you look online and see is anybody trying to talk about me and women?" I looked and it was this Newsweek article done by this Gawker trying to bring up Bill Cosby, R. Kelly, Roman Polanski, and Woody Allen. I
Mhm.
said, "Man," he said, "Okay, tell me honestly, Andrew, do you think it's going to stick?" I said, "Nah, nobody's going to buy into it. No one's going to buy into it." So we fast forward to they're going to the only way you got to see this African American art collection, you had to be invited to the houses. That's the only way. So they decided to give the Smithsonian millions of dollars and put the collection on loan for 2 years. So I had Cosby. I set up my interviews. I set up for Cosby that day was Roland Martin and Gwen Ifill.
Mm.
2 interviews I set up. After I finished, I go back to the hotel. Cosby, he said, look, it was 2 books on education that he signed, one to Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. He said, I need you to call the White House and get them these books. I said, okay, fine. So I called the White House. They accept my call. I'm trying to get them these books.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody stood me up. They had me going from this corner, me going to this location. For some reason, people were standing me up. I get back to my hotel, and I'm standing at the Lowe's in D.C. downtown, and all of a sudden the allegations hit.
Mm-hmm.
All because David purposely, in my mind, left Mr. Cosby unattended, and this AP reporter got to put him on the spot with his wife sitting next to him. He said, hey, if you have any integrity, I would appreciate if you destroy this tape.
I remember that like yesterday.
Okay, so by that time, this is a planned effort. I'm just
Mhm.
painting the picture for you. It's a planned effort. By that time, I'm going to connect the dots. One, remember 2005, the Obamas, whole deal.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So by that time, before all of that happened, Mr. Cosby was touring like crazy.
Mhm.
In a different, he was doing almost at least 8 cities a week at his age, 8 to 10 cities,
Wow.
sell out shows.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
William Morris tells him, you're too old now for us to shop a show. We had a new TV show coming out February 2015. Diane Carroll was going to play his wife. He was going to have
Mhm.
1 kid left in the house. Well, Cosby gets upset with William Morris, had been with them for almost 50 plus years.
Mhm.
He leaves and goes to CAA. Guess who purchases William Morris? R.E. Emanuel, whose
Mhm.
brother is Rahm Emanuel, the chief of staff to Obama, and Dr. Emanuel, who creates Obamacare. They're pissed with Cosby because he got a new TV show coming out. He saved William Morris from bankruptcy for 7 years, almost 7 years, as well as NBC a number of times. So
Well, let me
these
ask you this
Jews get
though.
together.
I know you. I know you've told the story, and we can hear it again, and I love it. But like somebody in the comments said, and I want to go to this comment really quick if I can find it. And Mr. Cosby, obviously, I want to show this picture as well. Unscathed Hugh Hefner with what he loved with 2 women. Okay.
Right.
Now the person's comment says, I think it's time for Bill Cosby to shine some light on the powers that be. Now, Bill Cosby is at the latter years of his life. I wouldn't say here that he will do that because, you know, they'll come after you even more. But, I mean, why doesn't he talk more about Hugh Hefner? I mean, that was his friend, but when Hugh Hefner was alive, he never really stood up and said anything to help Bill, from what I remember.
Well, I can say this. He called him. He checked on him. A lot of people care and run.
Hey, who? Hugh called Bill or Bill called Hugh?
Hugh Hefner called him and checked on him.
Okay.
Several times. And there's a lot of stuff that we were not able to talk about because Mr. Cosby's thing is he wants to protect everyone.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing when he told cast members on the show not to come out and support him. He said, because you got to live and you got to eat. And I know they could come and take your show away and attack your career. And he knew this was a mafia, a Jewish mafia hit on him. He knew that. We talked about it all the time. I remember when Jill Scott came out and supported him and they started canceling her tours. I had to call Jill myself and say, hey, you know, you got to denounce him. Same with Whoopi Goldberg when they were going to take her off The View. Mr. Cosby has always been this guy who wants to protect other people and throw himself in the fire. That's not always good. Okay, that's not always good. But he will always tell people who called him. I had a beautiful call with Sidney Poitier's wife and him earlier this year. And he said, "Can you get in touch with Joanne and just let her know that I miss Sidney and I love him and he means the world to me." And I sent her a text message and she texted me right back, "I would love to say hello to Bill." And then while on the call, you learn something new every day when you talk on a phone call with him and people.
I bet.
And I learned that with Quincy John, with Joanne Portier, she was a Canadian actress and an artist. And she said, "Bill, remember I walked up to you at the party and I said, 'Introduce me to Sidney.'" She said, "You know what? We consummated the relationship that night and we've been together ever since then." And Quincy Jones and him talked 3 months ago. And they wrote a lot of music together.
Mhm.
And they call each other Barefoot Brown and stuff like that. And
But
you know,
but Mr. Wyatt,
it,
I
it
like a comment just said that a lot of those people have gone on, but I just feel like, and I actually contacted somebody else who was being talked about in media recently because I know the person, and I'm just like, do you want to make a statement? It's hard when you're saying you're innocent to just sit by and watch people keep slandering and putting your name under the mud. And I mean, I can't imagine how angry a person would be when you've done all these things and you've been good to people and whatnot. And when you tell the story about, all the people he's helped and he not, is it more of just waiting to the right time to speak more than it is he won't ever? I know you said you didn't really feel like he needed to address it, but I think it's going to be hard for him to make any public appearances without him at least addressing it once.
I think he will in his own way. Okay. But it's difficult when this system, and now this is a new system they have put in place. The minute we figure out the laws, they change the laws because they created the laws. So, and they changed the game now where if you get out here publicly and deny something, you saw what happened to Kevin Hart. He denied cheating on his wife, and he had to settle out with Gloria Allred's daughter because that was defamation. And they're finding ways, unique ways. And I don't think Cosby's afraid. I don't think Mr. C is afraid. I could tell he's very disappointed in a lot of people. I will say that.
I don't think he's afraid. Just knowing him, I don't think, knowing what I've seen of him,
there's no fear in him. Look, this is the guy who actually be put in general population and he's blind. Okay. So I don't think he's afraid.
My problem with us as black men, I'm gonna address us as black men. We're a bunch of damn cowards. And with all due respect to Dr. Cosby and you and me, we're a bunch of damn cowards because we'll fight for everybody's liberation and freedoms and right to bullshit us, except for our own right to be men. We refuse to lay down our lives for ourselves. You talk about Black Wall Street. The most prominent person that was killed during the Black Wall Street genocide was Dr. Alvin Jackson from Memphis, Tennessee, one of the most prominent surgeons in the country. The Mayo brothers who founded the Mayo Clinic say he was the best black surgeon in the country. He helped save the lives of black and white folk. He lived in a mixed neighborhood next to a former judge and police chief, and them crackers shot him down like a dog. And the chief said, "No, this is a very prominent citizen. Don't do him like that." And they still shot him down like a stray dog.
Well, you left a significant part.
We keep on saying that we love Malcolm X, but we don't raise our sons and grandsons and nephews to be like Malcolm when he stood for black people, when he was cut down in front of his family. So we have the nerve to come out when's the right. There's no right time to be a man. There's no right time to die. You got to stand on something, don't stand for nothing. What's the point of having all this shit? And you can't wipe your own ass and take it. I mean, with all due respect, what's the point of accumulating this bullshit when you know the mob play by their rules? Look at Clarence Avant. He was made by the Jewish mob. Look what happened to him this past December. He was made by Joe Glacier, who was the manager of Louis Armstrong, who got Billie Holiday attacked by the damn federal government. What's the point of having this shiny shit if we can't enjoy it and live as full right and upright and straight backbone men and human beings? That's my problem with this whole thing. There's no strong black men in the media.
You're right.
Cosby was the latest
you're right.
one, and he was a character,
you're right.
actor.
And because you gotta understand, Mr. Wyatt, we love Bill Cosby and what they did to his legacy, and I'm not even talking about innocence or guilt. It's just like he meant a lot. And I mean, I don't know if he really even understand that what his name
I think he,
means.
I think he understands. Look, I tell everybody in this fight, when I got in this fight, I lost every client I had. But I lost every client I had, okay? But the same thing with Ron said, shit, I ain't gonna let nobody wipe my ass, okay? I'm just saying, I'm saying I ain't going to goddamn corner.
I ain't mad at you, Andrew. I'm not mad at you either.
I didn't go in the goddamn corner and sit in the corner and cry like a baby and say where my next meal gonna come from, okay? I didn't care going out here attacking these people. Say, well, you can't do this. No, I don't care, because see, they didn't give it to me. I know who I am. I know my history. I know the history that Torah that the Jews stole from us. That's our history. That's right. Okay, I understand who I am as a black man. I understand that sometimes we have to turn into Moses, and they still ain't gonna believe us. Okay, that they was delivered from the promised land. And they still didn't believe God after they look. I understand that the commandments wasn't given to us to be a suggestion. So, and I also understand that you have to be a warrior like David and take what belongs to you. I get all of that. And so that's why I get on the front lines. I take the hit. I take the bullet for the client. You know, I don't know who my enemies are, nor do I care, because I didn't get into this situation to be liked, to be loved. I didn't get in this situation for somebody to feed me. I know how to, as a black man, I know how to get out here and hustle and feed myself. Every client I lost 14 of them. 14. I'm talking about not just white people, HBCUs who I was representing walked away from me.
I never thought I never even thought to ask you this, Mr. Wyatt, but years from now, let's say Bill Cosby, gone away from this earth, what do you think people will remember you for? Like, what do you feel like when they think of Andrew Wyatt on that side of history? What do you think will be said?
I didn't leave a brother behind, and the most important, that friendship is essential to the soul, and that's important to me. I'm never gonna leave my people behind, and I hope, I'm not doing this for Bill Cosby. I'm doing this because it's bigger than Bill Cosby. I'm doing this for my grandson. I'm doing this for every black young boy I hear, to show them that, you stand on a foundation, man. And my grandmother used to always say, she said, ain't nobody fearless, because nobody don't know that much about themselves. Because when you hear a gunshot, you're going to duck or you're going to run. And so I ain't going to say I'm fearless. I'm just going to say I'm not going to succumb to it, and I got out here, and my legacy is just for people to say, quit sitting back and not being a beacon, and bringing the ship that your black people are on into safety. And that's why I look at it as myself with Cosby. I just want to show the world that, you don't let white people make you run away from your own people. You don't let white people make you run away from your own community. Look, I grew up in the projects in Bessemer, Alabama, 2613 Clarendon Avenue. My grandmother, who adopted my brother and I, she told us we were men at 11 or 12 years old. She had a 7th grade education and taught us mathematics. Wow. She took her last breath in my arms at 15, her last breath. And she just told me, I want you to be a good person and a good citizen. We called her Bay. Her name was Willie Dale Wyatt. My mom and dad came around every day, but my grandparents, who I'm named after my granddad, they wanted to keep the family name going, the Wyatt name going. So they asked my mom and dad, could they adopted us? Look, I got to go to college for free because they adopted us. I didn't have a tuition. My mom was director of admission at Miles College, so I got paid to go to college because I went to school for free. Yes, sir. So my grandparents made it possible, and I always wanted to be like them. I never wanted a son. I wanted a daughter. I got a daughter. I have one child, and but I remember that. I remember sitting on the floor of the projects, letting Bill Cosby teaching me my ABCs on electric company. I turned to my grandmother with a 7th grade education. I said, I want to do that one day. And she said, boy, shut your mouth. And the only thing I said, I wish she was here in the physical sense, but she's here in the spiritual sense, seeing me doing it. But she always said, I remember the first time my brother, he stayed in the fights, and he always came by the door. We 11 months and 24 days apart. So on August 3rd, when I turn 49, we'll be the same age to his birthday, August 27th. He'll come by the schoolroom door, and he'll say, hey, man, we got to run home today, man, because he always kept us some damn trouble, okay? He got us into something. And I was like, man, I got to run home again? And I left him. And I left him, right? And 10 dudes called and beating him. I'm home. I ran home, and Babe said, where your brother at? Where Terry at? I said, he getting beat up out here. She got the extended cord and whooped me. And she whooped me. And she said, you better not ever leave nobody
That's right.
you with and you in the fight with. You better not ever leave them behind. So I can't leave Bill Cosby behind. It's the same thing that I'm not going to leave Ron and Kara behind. You know, I'm not going to leave Boyce Watkins behind. I'm not going to leave Tariq behind. Look, I know where my people live. I worked in this business. See, when you worked for Rupert Murdoch and you worked for ABC that owns this, I know this business. I don't need, and Ron is right. Maybe I should have had a social media page. But see, I don't need the white person to anchor me on that level. I got you guys for that. That's what you do.
Andrew Wyatt, we love Bill Cosby so much. We'll fight you about him. We want you to know how much
That's right.
I'm saying was because some people have changed sides, but how much he was so
he always will be. He always will be loved. You know, this guy be 85 this year, and he has no health issues. He's just blind. I'm telling you, he's sharp as a tack. You get on the phone with him right now, and look, I had him on the phone with Tariq. They talked for 30 minutes.
You did, because when I tried to get in touch with Tariq, he kept playing around. So you know what?
We know it's good. Hey, it's Bill Cosby.
But I had him on the, but you know, I'm talking about and the same thing when you Karen Run. I called you up as soon as the show was over, and I wanted you to hear from him yourself. That's Mr. Himself. That's why he did an album called Himself.
That's
and
right.
I would love for you guys to, like I said, if you guys and Tariq and a host of others, Boyce, he talked to Boyce Watkins. You know, I make sure he's available to spread his wisdom around. And I told him, I said, look, man, let's schedule a call with these people, these great people I met with, and just talk to them. They're not going to betray you and hurt you or put you out there and record you when they know it's going to get you in trouble. That's why he got on the phone with you guys. I said, look, I don't have to meet you because energy is transferable from wherever you at. And I know good people, but I'm never not going to uplift my own. I'm not racist, but I care about my people. I got to care about my people first before I could care about anybody else.
I want to go.
And so
go ahead.
Yep.
That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here, and that's my legacy, man. And like I say, I told my daughter on my epitaph when I leave here, hey, just put on there, I'm finally sleeping, so leave me the hell alone. That's all I wanted to be said. You know, I'm finally sleeping, so leave me the hell alone, because I get called at 2 a.m. in the morning, and I go to bed every morning at 1 o'clock and get up at 5 and hit the gym. I do 5 hours. That's my everyday plan. But I want to, that's my legacy. When she put it on there on that epitaph, my dad is finally sleeping. Just leave him the hell alone, because I've done my job.
Finally, leave him alone.
Yeah, all right.
I want to ask you, I got a couple of audience questions to ask you. Then I have another big topic I want to bring up why I have you here, because you've been on the show twice and I didn't get to it. But I'm gonna go ahead and ask you a question right here by Mocha Girl, and maybe that's pronounced wrong, but I'm gonna go with that. It says, I hope Cosby is writing or documenting the real story. Ask Andrew if his team is working on a documentary or book of the truth.
Well, I'm working on Mr. Cosby. I didn't want to do it. He's been pushing me for the five years to write a book, so I'm writing it now. And we're working on a documentary. Look, I have all of the video footage that when I got him out of prison, I recorded the whole thing, our entire conversation and everything. So we're working on all of that stuff. He's busy. He's working. He's put down a lot of things in writing. We memorialize them on tape for him. We record him on show ideas and concepts and those things. So working on a lot of good things for him.
Excellent.
Okay, another fan question from my Instagram is from Castle in Disguise. Question for Mr. Wyatt. When should fans and supporters expect the 5-part Cosby docuseries by Michelle Major to air? I don't think I heard you answer that.
Well, no, I signed a deal. Mrs. Cosby gave me limited power attorney 4 years ago. I signed a deal with Michelle, and look, we had to get past this trial. We're saying stuff like, he can't, he's going to invoke his Fifth Amendment privileges. Well, we can't have him out talking, and we got this trial, and we said, well, hey, he can't sit for a second deposition. So it's a lot of legal stuff, but the deal has already been signed by Michelle, and Michelle did the Venus and Serena documentary, her and Mike and Beard, and look, I wanted a black woman. I wanted somebody black. She was just the first person courting me at that time, and really, what she did, and I tell you what I really liked about Michelle, what made me go with her. She did a solid, something that I couldn't believe she did. All of Cosby's daughters. Michelle, I met her for the first time, maybe I'll say 6-7 years ago. I'll say it was about 2015. I met Michelle, and she said, we need to do something where his daughters can talk about him on recording. And so I got all of the daughters to record a special statement about their father. And Insa, who was alive, did it. And Michelle said, give it to me. Now, I had only known her for a week. She said, get it to me. I'll sign a contract. She used to be Diane Sawyer's executive producer. She said, if I can't shop it around and get somebody to play it, I'll give it back to you. I won't exploit it. I won't use it to make money off. She couldn't get no one to play it. She shopped it around for 3 weeks, and she gave me all of the recordings back and the contract she signed, and I was the one that put it out there. And I was like, well, that's pretty honest, because a lot of people were not being honest when it came to Mr. Cosby, because everybody was trying to use him to make a name for themselves. And she did that, and she kept her word. So, I convinced Mr. and Mrs. Cosby, and Mrs. Cosby said, well, I'm going to give you limited power attorney, Mr. Wyatt, to where this documentary will go in your name, and you will have the power to, do what you need to do with it. So that's where we're at.
One more question from the audience, and I'm going to move on to the next topic. But it says from Phenom 189, hello to you and Mr. and Mrs. Cosby. My question for Mr. Wyatt is, how is Mr. Cosby doing, and how has the almost year been being released been in reflection? Special thanks to you, Mr. Wyatt, for the continuing work and help in getting the facts out while humanizing.
Well, thank you. Well, look, when I got him to Mrs. Cosby, I put him in his SUV and had some guys to drive him to the New York property. And, she had doctors at the house waiting for him, psychiatrists there. She had an acupuncturist there. She had an Epsom salt bath waiting for him. And and she when he got there, he was like 187 pounds. You can see how small. When he went into prison, he was 220 pounds and lost a lot of weight. And his birthday was around the corner. And she said, look, Billy, she calls him Billy. She said, Billy, I'm going to give you a food transfusion. And she, took care of him. By July 12th, his birthday, she called me up and she sent me a picture of him. She said he has now put on 12 good pounds. In 12 days, she had put him 12 good pounds. And she took him back to the Massachusetts property, and they live on a farm, and she started feeding him from the earth, from their Black Angus cows, just all healthy foods, no bad foods. And she kept telling me, she said, look, you did the time with my husband. You guys have to get rest. But we couldn't stop talking to each other throughout the day and night because, you know, we were so separated because of prison. And we talked, me and her, we would talk from midnight to 2 a.m. And she said, so you're putting me down now because he's back out. I was like, well, this is my guy, you know. And it's more than
Well, wait,
just,
Andrew, I gotta call you out though, because you said all healthy food, but I'm gonna have to wait a minute. That ain't.
but remember, look, let me tell you, but that's before I got her to him, before I got him to her. That's when he got out on June 30th. We all ate bad that day. Let me tell you, that day, when I got him out of prison, he said, Andrew, this man ordered every food that you could think of. And and he said, and then the day I said, you got to go home to Mrs. Cosby, he said, oh, Lord. He said, well, when the media asks where I'm going, just tell them I'm checking back into prison named Camille Cosby. Because he said, that's the last piece of pizza. And that was, we stayed up to 2 a.m. of him eating that pizza. And when he finally fell asleep, he woke up calling my name. And I was down the hall. And he thought, he was like, so this wasn't a bad dream? I'm really out of prison. And he ate. This man killed a whole pig in the morning. He ate sausages. He ate everything before he went back to her because he knew it was that and he hasn't had a pizza since then. He hasn't had a pizza since Wednesday, June 30th. He hasn't had a slice of pizza. He's been eating buckwheat.
You know what's funny is Mr. Cosby is funny. Look at the way he holds the nap.
Yeah.
Like, even that's funny.
Oh, look! I'm telling you, we want what I came up with the idea for the documentary, and this is what we're going to try to work on. We'll put it in there. I want him to sit down. I put you guys' names on a list, and I'm sharing this, and I've never shared this. I put you guys' names on a list with Tariq, Boyce Watkins, and a host of other names. And I say, I want you guys to sit down and just eat with him. It's the funniest stuff in the world to eat with him. And because he's a big foodie, so he's gonna find out everything you guys like, and he would have it flown in. We found out a lady in Philadelphia, Margot Jackson, she was one of our star witnesses. She loved turnip greens. He called Dookie Chase Restaurant in New Orleans, and they shipped in fried chicken, turnip greens, collard greens. They shipped it in from New Orleans to Philadelphia.
Wow.
Like he found out that the former mayor of Birmingham, Alabama loved hoagies and cheesesteaks. He was sending boxes of cheesesteaks to Birmingham, Alabama. Whatever he finds out you like, he used to have the FedEx guy wait at the house while his chef made chocolate chip cookies and overnighted them to me while they were still hot. He just, like right now, he'll call me 10 times a day because he'll send me a list of all these restaurants to go to in LA, his favorite restaurants to go to, and everybody feeds me for free. I was like, I can't do that, Mr. C. I gotta get in my suit, so I can't eat like that. So but then when you eat, Kara, I'm telling you, especially women, when you eat the food, he's gonna call you and he's gonna be like, okay, talk to me, because he can't have it now. And he's like, tell me about it. And then he's gonna ask you about it. He's like, no, he's gonna say stuff like, take it slow, Kara. Take it slow. I really want to taste it as you're talking about the food. Because Mrs. Cosby has cut him off. And so so yeah, he's having a good time. But that was that last day he had a slice of pizza. And he hasn't had any of that bad stuff. He's in great health. Look, Mrs. Cosby though got his teeth all white. She don't
right.
Like, look,
okay.
Look, he's a new guy now, and he cannot get anything. He has to take his all his vitamins, his supplements. He gets acupuncture and massages 3 times a day.
Wow.
She was like, this is my Billy. And she said, They just January 25th, they celebrated 57 years of marriage.
Wow.
And on March 20th, she turned 77 years old. And he turns 85 on July 12th. And man, it's like a love affair that's never stopped. I asked her last week, I said, we started talking about these women. And she said, let me tell you something. She said, let me be honest with you, Mr. White. She said, see, these women don't know me. They thought they knew me. They thought that I was going to leave my husband. She said, but let me tell you how Hollywood works. She said, that's nothing uncommon. She said, they throw women at you in Hollywood. It wasn't like I didn't know what my husband was doing. She said, but he didn't have to rape and drug women because my husband was good looking and everyone wanted him. And she said, when he walked in the room, he took the air out the room the same way he took the air out of me. She said, so when my parents, she comes from a upper echelon family. She said, Billy came from the projects.
Right.
And she said, my family, she said, he told my family, when I married this woman and his friend in the Navy, Stymie, who's still alive, still lives in DC, introduced him. And he called Mrs. Cosby up. He said, I tell you what, if you don't come over here, just send my ring back. And she was over there that day, and they got in the car. He drove all the way to San Francisco, and they ate candy bars. And he started opening up at the Hungry Eye, and Dick Gregory, the rest is history, gave him his start. But he promised her family and them, he said, look, she's going to not want for anything in life. And I promise her that. And this man look, the house that they're in right now in New York, he purchased her it was a French school. He purchased her the entire school in 1984 and turned it into a house.
Wow.
He bought her a G4 for her birthday, and she bought him a Pilatus airplane for his birthday. You know, they don't make women like, it's hard to find women like that these days. It's just not Kara, you might be one of the good ones, but it's hard. It's difficult. It's a difficult challenge because, you know, she was like, Hillary Clinton stayed with her husband.
Right.
She says, but they want me to leave my husband.
But Andrew, is that
no.
cheating? I mean, would you define that as cheating if she already knew what was going on? Is that cheating? Because people want to say
it wasn't cheating. It wasn't cheating.
Okay.
Look,
Thank
Mrs.
you.
Cosby said I would pick. She said I would pick him up from the Playboy Mansion. She said I would pull up in my Rolls Royce. She said I was there just as much as he was there.
Well, they better hope is that they don't do a full investigation of that Playboy Mansion because it's gonna be some names coming.
Now I think Hugh Hefner was the Jeffrey Epstein blueprint. It sounded like he was working for some powerful people, extorting people. It sounded like for information. You know, you use people to set up with sex scandals to get information out of people. Or set them up in compromised situation.
Look, the vagina is the most powerful thing that exists in this world.
That's right.
Okay, it's like my grandmother always said to me, I won't use the word she said, and there was the P word, and she said a P ain't nothing but a hairy bank, and all you can do is make deposits.
Okay, Grandma, come on. Cat Williams has a comedy special out right now, and he said that women are sitting on gold. Women are sitting on gold.
Look, she said, and she was right. It's a hairy bank, and all you can do is make deposits. You can't make no withdrawals. It costs you a lot of money. And if our women realize the power that they had, they don't have to be with the street dude. Okay, they don't have to be with the street guy. You know, they got so much power, man. They could have the white picket fence and the true American dream. I call it the Black American dream. And, you know, and our brothers have to stop disrespecting our sisters, man. If you meet a sister, leave her better off than you found her. And I think that's what Bill Cosby didn't do to these white women. He understood their game. And he understood that I'm not going to leave you better off than I found you. Mr. Cosby's problem was when you read the evidence, I tell you what the problem is. And white women, when when you disrespect a white woman, they hold that for the rest of their lives. The sisters be like, okay, he got me this time.
Because
He
you
got
better
me.
not disrespect them. They want you to know their rightful place.
You
Take
bet.
a look at this. Take a look at this picture here. Let me move this
Right.
down so y'all can see it. This is a white woman with her foot in a trap that they use for animals, and here's the black man trying to save her. So you
But
guys
that's
can
how it
reflect on
goes.
that.
That's how it goes, and we have to realize that, you know, look, white women don't forget. You know, anytime I tell you what, Mr. Cosby, one incident he had, he was seeing one of these women, and he flew her in on a private jet, and she came up on a private back elevator, the Elvis Presley elevator, with her massage chair, the table to give him a massage. And when it was over with, he gave her $30 to take a cab, and she had to walk through the lobby with the massage. That's embarrassing. And some of these women have not forgotten. It's not about him raping. He didn't have to rape and drug anyone. This is about white women who didn't get the career opportunities that they wanted out of life and the success. And he gave it to this black woman and didn't leave his black wife for them. They're so used to us leaving. We meet one of them, man, we think we're on cloud nine and we think we've hit the jackpot. And we leave. And we give everything up for them. If Bill Cosby had done that, he wouldn't be in this situation today. I don't think.
Yeah. I want to case in point. I saw the Kamal Bell's mockumentary hit propaganda.
Wait. Let's not go there yet, because that's what I've been trying to get to. But I want to ask. Sorry to interrupt you, Ron, but let me just ask him one question, because about this civil suit that you guys are now getting the jury together for with Judy Huth. That's her name, right?
Huth.
Judy Huth.
Huth.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. Has it been said if Bill Cosby knew her at all? Because I know he said that he wasn't there at the same time, but did they know each other at all?
He knew of her. He knew
well,
of
I guess
her.
so, because we got the picture, right?
Yeah, you got the picture. He knew her, and matter of fact, what's so interesting, you know, Miss Huth reached out to him, asking him to purchase an onion for her dad's store. Back in early 2000s. Now, if this guy did this to you, why would you reach out to him to purchase an onion for your dad's store? You know, a casual call she made to his office. So it just shows you what this is all about. When you say no, and I'm not going to help you.
All right.
And I can tell you, Mr. Cosby did help a lot of these people. You know, he did help a lot of these women, and you know, he tried. Even when Andrea Constant, he tried at the time. You know, it was always rumored that she was in a relationship with Don Staley, the coach of South Carolina, and he called ESPN and tried to help this woman get a job. She wanted to be a sportscaster. The people at ESPN said, "Look, she's horrible." You know, he tried to help a lot of these women. They just didn't have any talent. They didn't have any talent. And so, you know, you become angry. You know, it's like Catherine McKee, who was Sammy Davis Jr.'s mistress. Catherine McKee, who said he violently raped her in Detroit, Michigan. Well, we have a letter, an actual letter that she sent to Mrs. Cosby in 2005, thanking him for everything that they had done for her life and her sister. We presented that to the courts for this. She was supposed to be one of 1101 witnesses. She dropped out. She was supposed to be one of the witnesses in this trial. She dropped out because we sent that letter in, and we made that part of the evidence. How could you say, Bill, I love what you've done for my life, but now you want to say you raped me? She sent this letter in 2010.
So
I mean, you brought up Andrea Constant. You said she was involved with Don Staley, the coach of South Carolina.
Yeah.
I heard she was involved with Steve Nash, and he left her for a black girl too. So I mean, that's interesting.
She was having an affair with Steve Nash. Steve was married at the time, And he stopped dealing with her. Then she started seeing Don Staley when Don Staley was the coach at Temple University.
Wow.
And she asked Mr. Cosby the way things look. We served Don Staley to be a part of the trial, and her attorneys, fought it, and then Mr. Cosby said, "Let Don go." You see, that was the problem with Mr. Cosby. He was always saying, "Don't hurt this person's career. Don't bring them forward." We served Don Staley at Temple University at a basketball game in 2018. While she was playing, South Carolina was playing Temple. We served on the court.
Wow. Oh my
But
God.
Constant came to Mr. Cosby. This is when things went bad. She came to him, wanted him to purchase a bus for the women's basketball team. He said no. Then it was in Canada. He had a show in Canada. Her family was all excited to meet him, and he told her that he would have dinner with them. The family had bragged to all their friends. They had bragged to people in the arena that they were going to have dinner with Bill Cosby backstage. He didn't show up for the dinner, nor did he meet with them. Look, they became bitter. They felt embarrassed. This is not about rape or drugging women.
Right.
These are women who just, they did not get to hold on to the bluefin tuna.
And this is Don Stanley right here, which I actually met in my time at ESPN on the right.
Oh wow.
So forgot what year that was, but she was laughing at my country voice, and I had a good time showing her around there. But just want to show that. But moving on, I wanted to bring this up, like I said earlier, because I talked to you twice, once with Ron, once by myself, and never brought this up. But Showtime, we need to talk about this documentary by W. Kamau Bell. We need to talk about Cosby. And I wanted to bring this up. Kamau Bell, I used to also work for CNN. Kamau Bell had a show on CNN called The United States of America. United Shades of America. Shades of America. Excuse me. Thank you. Right. Andrew Wyatt's on point today. Thank you so much. United Shades of America, where he became a political analyst of sorts, but had no political background. Okay. Kamau Bell says he's a comedian. Okay. But from what I've gathered from people like Jason Black and others, he's not a very talented comedian. Okay. And another interesting fact about Kamau Bell, and I'm just giving you facts, so hey, and they just in whatever order they're in. This is his family, and then I would just like to go back to this photo here. But what I found funny about this is Kamau, like I said, has very little experience in the opportunities that he's been given. So a lot of people feel as if he was given these opportunities by these companies because he was trying to bash Bill Cosby and be one of those soldiers to take him down. And what I found interesting about this is on an article I found that was discussing this program on Showtime, I just thought it was funny that Kamau would actually say that he was terrified for people to see his Bill Cosby docuseries. And he's quoted as saying, when I did an episode where I talked to the Klan, I was nervous about it, but I wasn't scared that people was going to be on the Klan side, says Bell, director of We Need to Talk About Cosby. I'm bringing it up because I find that quote to be interesting, and I find it that for him to compare this to the Klan, I mean, I don't know, you two are smart guys. I just think that it's interesting the way he stated that, and the fact that he knows who Bill Cosby is and the legacy and whatnot, but to do all this and then to say you're terrified, I don't know. It just
he's another Hannibal Buress, and where's Hannibal at now? Exactly. They gave Hannibal the richest. They gave him the salt of the earth, the richest of the world. They promised him, and you heard movies coming out. He was on the Tonight Shows. He made all of the circuits, And when he did his job, he doesn't exist anymore.
That's right.
You know, Kamal Bell was threatened, and he's going to always be the guy that do the work of the white man. From my understanding, Zucker, who's always had an axe to grind against Mr. Cosby, Zucker was the president of CNN. He just recently stepped down because of allegations.
Right.
But before then, he was the president of NBC. He was having dinner at Mr. Cosby's New York home, and he made a racial comment to Mr. Cosby. Mr. Cosby walked him to the foyer, and he said, "Hey, get your coat." He thought they was going to go for a walk around New York, and Mr. Cosby gave him his coat. He watched him put on the coat, and he said, "Get out of my house, you Nazi." And it's to a Jewish man. And Zucker said, "I'm going to get you back one day for that." And that's who CNN paraded the women out. CNN, Kamal Bell, United Shades of America, said, "Hey, go do this documentary." Now, why would CNN let their own, who CNN just started their own documentary department 3 years ago, why would they encourage him to do a documentary with their competitor, Viacom, that owns CBS and Showtime? It just shows you the level of how our black people would cave and sell us out for just a little attention. They don't care. They don't look at the fact that you're ruining your legacy and your career, whatever name you had. Now, what are we hearing from Kamal Bell anymore? You done your job. So are we gonna, you got some upfront money, now you go about your business. We ain't happy that you married to this white lady, because we look at you, brother. You shouldn't have that type of white wife anyway. Y'all don't even look like y'all should be together.
That's all.
I'm just saying.
I can't call it a documentary. It's a mockumentary. It's a damn shamble and shame. He interviewed Tom Mesereau, Cosby's former lawyer, Michael Jackson's former lawyer. He sat down with him willfully. Did not include any piece of that interview in the so-called mockumentary. Tom sat with that man. Tom called me. And he said, "Andrew, should I do it?" I said, "Yeah, definitely do it." And Tom sat with them for almost 5 hours, man. Nothing
and
included.
They edited him out of the whole thing, nothing included, because it, as you said, a mockumentary. And also, yeah, you said it.
And brother Andrew, I want to add too, to go back, like it was a woman in there. There was a UMass music student that met Dr. Cosby when he was there at UMass on a speaking engagement. And like you said, I think Cosby's problem was he didn't just played along with it. He could have made a phone call to Quincy Jones or Clyde Davis or somebody and put on the phone with her. Right. She came back and repeat the same thing. How you gonna keep on? I can't call these women victims. They accusers. They did not meet the definition of being victimized in a court of law. They did not meet it. These are scorned women, failed supermodel, failed actress. All these are scorned women. Why you keep on coming to Cosby for free dinner dates and concerts? If you was such a monster, you introduce your mom, your grandparents, and your children to Mr. Cosby. If this man is such a monster, how come you keep on sitting down and feeding from the beast or feeding the beast? Dr. Cosby.
Well, why do you have a picture of what about Judy Huth? They made her bring her photo album book to a deposition. And now in her photo album book, next to her wedding photo with the guy she was married to, she got Bill Cosby right under it.
What the hell? Was she 16 then? She's 16? Was she only 16?
No, they asked her, they said, exactly.
Where's the picture?
And so they asked her, exactly, they said, Miss Huff, why would you put a man who did all of these things to you next to your wedding photo? That's a significant time in your life.
Right.
And she said, because it was a photo that meant a lot to me. This guy molested and sexual assaulted you, whatever, and he means a lot to you.
Don't make it make sense. I want to go to this tweet I found, and it's by Son of Africa. It says, "Kamal, why didn't you focus on all the Hollywood white men and power players, Kevin Spacey, Harvey Weinstein, Woody Allen, Scott Baio, Dustin Hoffman, etc., who are accused of sexual assault or harassment I brought that up because when I went back and I saw the trailer for this, and I have to tell you, Andrew, I tried to watch this and I could not get through it. I think I watched maybe 5 minutes. It just didn't feel right to me. But when I watched the trailer and I seen some of the black people that were enlisted to talk, okay, let's say if you do believe Cosby did this. As a black person, I mean, why don't you go after these white people who have historically done things like this over and over and over, and who are never punished, who can still come out to the events, who music is still being played? Okay, not Elvis.
One word, Carol, one word, and that's Jews.
Well, look, I ain't gonna say it because I still want. Look, I still want to show.
One word.
And that's why we know who's doing it. You can't talk about them. Anybody you can't talk about without fear of being retaliated against. That's that's your adversary.
Look, I'm not saying. And let me protect your show. Let me protect your show right now and say the right
thing.
Hold
on, y'all ain't not all. I ain't no punk now. Don't act like I'm a punk. I ain't no punk.
No. I want. You're good, but I want to.
I'm just making jokes.
All Jews are not bad. All Jews, like all blacks, are not good. Okay.
Right.
But we do have those duplicitous Jews in Hollywood that control the industry. They're the gatekeepers that they tone down and water down our message and who we are.
Right.
And they're gonna always protect their own. One thing about it, they're gonna make sure when their own gets in trouble, like Harvey became the sacrificial lamb. They had to sacrifice somebody, okay? And they sacrificed him. But Harvey allowed himself to be sacrificed when Gloria Allred's daughter was representing him and had him to write that stupid press release admitting guilt. And because they were going to have him set aside $400 million, they was going to get 45%, settle with every woman that came forward with a claim. But these Hollywood starlets was like, look, we don't want to deal with Allred. They grungy. They're sewer rats. We don't want to deal with them. We can have our own platform. We'll come after Harvey. That was Harvey's mistake. But when you're a white male and Jewish, they're going to protect their own.
But Obama,
we just haven't figured that out.
I just want to say real quick though, because I didn't feel good after that.
Yeah,
I never want to be I want to say I don't mind calling people out. I just want to make. I'm sure people know that already, but I just didn't want to seem like I was trying not to say.
Well, not all people. Not all. I want to always say that not all white people are bad. Not all black people are good. Not all women are gold diggers. Not all. But I think we can never say all. I'll just say we got some bad apples in the bunch.
But I have to say, historically, white people have been a lot to deal with, though. We ain't gonna let them off the hook.
Right.
We gonna play that much shit.
I would tell Cosby is not a gangster like these guys are gangsters. Gangsters were found. Hollywood was founded by gangsterism. Frank Sinatra idol was Bugsy Siegel. You got pictures of Frank Sinatra with big time mob bosses like Carlo Gambino and Paul Castellano and Frasciano, the head of the La Cosa Nostra in L.A. He's not in trouble like a young thug making rap lyrics. You got pictures of him with these mob bosses. So it's a tale of two Americas. But Cosby's not a gangster. For as much money that Cosby paid off over the years to individuals and institutions, he should be better protected. People owe him checks and money orders and cash apps. This is ridiculous. As much money he shelled out over the years, he should be better protected. Like you look at the mob movie, you pay for protection. Cosby paid millions of dollars.
He should,
and he was an earner.
The problem, as Mrs. Cosby said, his problem was that he said no. And when you say no, when you say no, and he said when they told him, they said, "Look, Bill, you need to stop going out trying to encourage black people to become entrepreneurs."
Right.
And they told him to stop those things, and he said, "No, I believe in my people." When he came back and saw, I asked him, I said, "What made you not go the route of a lot of the comics with cursing and stuff?" He said, First off, Andrew, when I was coming up, you would get arrested if you cursed on the stage.
Mhm.
You wasn't allowed to do that.
Mhm.
And he said, but what made me say that I was going to focus on education and uplifting my people, he said, when I left Philadelphia and came back after being in Hollywood, my friends and a lot of my people were on drugs. Everything looked like they were zombies, the Walking Dead. And he said, look, I understand the power of entertainment, and I could not use my platform and entertainment to continue to destroy my people. And that's when him and Mrs. Cosby in the 1960s and early 70s, they took a couple of $1 million of their monies, and they said they saw no black people in Hollywood who were wardrobe artists and makeup artists. So they got them certified and trained and got them their SAG card and got them to be a part of the union and got them jobs. Uh, the Black Stuntmen's Association. That's why he started it when he saw a white man being painted down. He said, I got a guy in North Philly that'll flip a car for $25. You know, he consistently put his money, and he's still doing it today. We got a number of students that we're paying tuition for right now. We're finalizing their tuition bills. That he never stopped. When he got into when these accusations came, he told Mrs. Cosby, he said, we will not stop paying the tuition of these students because I'm in trouble.
Right.
And he said we will keep the money coming, and because they should not be hurt because people are making false allegations against me. And so we're still putting people through college. You know, even for shows like, and I'm gonna have to leave in a few because I got a meeting with these attorneys. We got to be back in court.
Yeah.
You know, I told him before I came on, and I'm gonna do the same thing I've done for a number of shows. I'm gonna make a $500 contribution to your show.
Well, thank you, because we
And
need it over here.
I did it. I did it for Tariq. I did it for Judge Joe Brown's show, Valerie Denise Jones last week. And so I'm gonna make the same contribution. I don't do Cash App now. I've never had a Cash App. I'm
I
old
got
school.
paid.
Like y'all say, I don't have the social media. I'm old school, run. So
don't take them bells, man. That's all
if you sending me some money, we can figure it out. You can PayPal, Western Union.
All you gotta do, if you PayPal me when we get off this show, I'll send it to you immediately. That's all I would do. But I'm kind of old school that way. I'm young, but I just don't touch Cash App because somebody told me my daughter.
Look, Western Union been around since slavery. I think you know the historical facts.
No. I ain't gonna put you through the Western Union, but I would definitely do the PayPal as soon as you text me the PayPal thing. But I've been doing that for the black shows only. I've been making a $500 contribution.
You know, we two platforms, right? I'm just co-hosting with her tonight.
I got you for 5. I got you for 5, and I got Kara for 5.
All right, we got him on the air. It's on record. Okay,
I got you for 5, but it's just a high five. Can I get a high five?
No. But if you would please just text me your PayPal, and you will have it within 10 minutes. I do it pretty quickly. And I don't want anything from it. This is not about special favors. This is not. I just want you guys to stay alive. To tell people stories. You don't owe me nothing. If something comes out negative of me, just print the truth. I don't need nobody to. I'm not saying something is. I don't need somebody to just cover to me because he paid his way. My whole goal of working in the industry and working in this business, I've always saw, and I never forget this guy. He's still my mentor today, Frank DiTilio. Frank was my general manager, and Frank's an Italian guy. And Frank took over all the Viacom stations in Tampa, Florida, with Dennis Swanson, who gave the Oprah Winfrey Show, took over Viacom. And then when Dennis took over Fox, Frank had me to move over Fox because of Swanson back in the early 2000s. But Frank always told me, he said, you got to have, a number of things to be successful. And you got to have goals, mentors, industry knowledge, and a sense of humor. But he said one thing about, and this other guy, Jack Schaefer, who owned all the Schaefer Eye Centers, and he sold them for $90 million in Birmingham. They encouraged me to start my own business, and they said, Andrew, the problem with Black people, and the worst thing that could have happened to you guys fought for integration when you had your own Black districts.
That's
you
right.
had the best hamburger.
That's right.
And you want to take the bland hamburger. And you want to taste the bland hamburger when you had the best hamburger. And he said the problem with Black people, he said the Black Jews, Italians, and the Dagos, they all grew up in the same community. He said, but what happened, we moved out and we didn't give you guys the formula. And I was like, well, what was the formula? He said the formula was not to become materialistic and try to become better than the other person next door to you. The formula was to put your money together and then enhance your community and your businesses. And that's what we didn't do. So I try to use what I can when I can. And please don't invite me on your show, people, just to make a contribution, because I'm not. I can't do it for everybody. But
we thank you so much, Mr. Wyatt. We know you got to leave in a second, so I want to say thank you again.
I got to leave, but please, can you? I'm turning my phone back on now because I turned it off.
I'm
emailing Send me your PayPal only.
Okay.
Well, send it to me by email, text, whatever you want. But Ron, I think, has my email or text or whatever. I mean, my cell number. But just just text me your PayPal, and you'll have it within 10 minutes before I'm gonna go meet with these attorneys, and I'm gonna go walk on the beach and smoke my cigar. And smoke the life.
Well, Andrew, stay prayed up, and we wish you the best in your good fight, brother. And
I appreciate y'all, man, and thank you for your support.
We love you, man. You and Brother Bill, man. I'll stay protected, stay prayed up.
Man, I appreciate that, man, and thank you guys for your support, and let's make this work, man. I need to keep you guys around, not just for me, but for my grandson and other people, because, like I said, at the end of the day, my daughter knows what to do when it's all over, and this will be my legacy, because when you hear the last name Wyatt, you'll get to say, well, I knew your dad or your granddad or whatever. And I just want to make a difference for our people. And that's what life is all about. It's not about me. It's about just making a difference for Black people and figuring out how to influence our people to think better about themselves and to understand that you can't kill off corruption. If you go after corruption, you're going to always lose. You have to go after corrupt people. Once you go after corrupt people, you destroy corruption.
Absolutely.
Right,
well, we'll let you
so
go
thank you for everybody.
Note.
Blessings, man. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ron, you stay on the line.
Thank you for everything.
Wyatt out. But watch your phone.
Text me. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Yeah, I'm about to text him down.
I
need some gas money, man.
I want to tell everybody that's in here right now, go ahead and like this video. We brought you a hell of a show. It's not as easy as it looks. Me and Ron, we do this stuff. This is what we do, okay? So you can also hit our Cash App, because this show doesn't pay for itself, especially my show. I do graphics, I do all sorts of things. So you can hit me up at $Care Dangerous, and Ron has his name, which, where is your name, Ron? Oh, Cash App, $R2C. Wait, C2H2, all that. He got himself a chemistry formula over there, but mine is easy. You will see my face. And thank you guys so much. This has been beautiful. No matter what your views are, it was good to get together and talk. And before we get out of here, I just want to say again, prayers to those affected in Texas. Just a horrible mass shooting there at the elementary school. Me and Ron talked about that. That was breaking news. Before we get out of here, just one last fun topic, Ron. Okay. And it's surrounding Juneteenth. Your favorite holiday.
My favorite holiday, yes.
Yeah. What you call it?
Holiday, you know.
Holiday.
We don't have holiday. We have holidays, you know.
Yes. So everybody knows what the big fuss has been. And I have to say, y'all Negroes, I understand, but I don't understand, because Walmart, their great value brand of ice cream, they decided to make a Juneteenth ice cream as well as a Pride ice cream. But this time we're not even talking about the LGBTQ WYZ, so we can leave them out. But Juneteenth, black folks was all mad because they made a what was it, a red velvet flavored ice cream, which sounds really good. But Walmart has since took this ideal and shelved it. They said they're no longer gonna put this ice cream out. The part that I think is funny, Ron, is that some black people were like, and it's great value. Don't act like you ain't never had great value before. Don't act like you always brought Pepsi and Coke to the. Come on, don't act like you don't had some great value Coca-Cola before or soda. So to stop tripping. I get it. We don't want them to profit off of us or whatnot, but it's just funny to me the things that black people care about compared to what they don't care about, Ron. Because like we discussed off air, it seems like to me, when it deals with white supremacy, a lot of black people today don't give a damn about it until they see somebody being shot on the news. Because just like we saw LeBron James' son go to prom with a white girl and people were up in arms about that, but all I saw down my timelines was black people saying, "Oh, it's okay, leave them alone, okay." That's one side of it, but it's just like, what do black people really care about? Do you really care about white supremacy and that it's a 24-hour, minute-by-minute system that's used to take you down on a daily? It sounds like the devil that God was talking about in the Bible, the Quran, or whatever book you read. But it just seems as if whenever it comes to the black man's penis or even the black woman's vagina, and if they want a certain thing to be in there, then they don't give a damn about white supremacy. Then you don't know how many people I said, like, leave them alone. If you mess with them having sex, or what was the other thing I brought up to you earlier, Ron, when it comes to black people just picking and choosing when they give a damn about white supremacy? Do you remember?
I know we talked the Bronny James situation, and it's so much care. I mean, my mind is spinning right now. There's so much to. So I was looking up Jack Johnson because he got pardoned by Trump not too long ago. They made a whole law because he was sleeping around with white women crossing state lines. It was a crime for him to sleep with white women. And then when he used to win boxing matches against white men, you would have race riots in the city. Every time this black man, and it was interesting, he's from Texas, right? And he would drive high speeds in places like the backwoods of Georgia, pay off these high speed tickets. I'm gonna pay for the one on the way back through here. I'm gonna speed back here again. This is a time where they were lynching black folks every day and a half. And also, some of the biggest lynching victims were black business people. Black entrepreneurs, like the People's Grocery lynching here in Memphis. 3 enterprising young black men who was grocers were lynched. One happened to be Ida B. Wells' best friend, Thomas Moss. She was the godmother to his daughter. They ran her out of Memphis, just a couple blocks away from here. She had an office on Beale Street.
You gonna find a way to get Ida in there?
I love Ida B. Wells. I know we would have worked out. We would have worked it out because cancer women love me for some reason.
Oh my God!
Yeah, we'd have worked that out. But anyway, but you get back to like LeBron James. He could be another Cosby. No, because he giving back all this money to the community, investing in people, got his own school. They could set them up for the fall because the bigger they are, the harder they fall. The more sound they make falling down.
Anybody with a squeaky clean image, you better watch out because they may be coming for you next. You never know. You piss off the wrong person. And what I was saying earlier is that it seems like black people have a short-lived outrage for things. Like people like me and Ron, we see the outrage, we get it all the time. But it seems like a lot of these Negroes out here, they only see it when it's plastered up on the main media news. And it's just something that I'm sick and I'm tired of being witness to, just the ignorance.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Brother Andrew. He's a man of his word. He just delivered.
Oh, shit. Excuse me. Let me hurry up.
Yeah, get that out there. I'll talk for a minute. Yeah, but you got to think about it. That the people who are ashamed of Walmart having that Juneteenth ice cream are the same people that are afraid. These are same black folks that are ashamed to eat watermelon and chicken in front of white people. Fried chicken and watermelon. I was at a Nathan Bedford Forrest birthday rally. He was the first Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. He was buried in Memphis on one of our busiest streets downtown Union Avenue. first Grand Wizard clan, and also a war criminal who killed about 300 U.S. colored troops and women and children, black women and children, during the Fort Pillow massacre. I went to the last 3 birthday rallies they had in July when they had the statue and his body of him and his wife buried underneath the statue. And no white folks knew who I was. They said, "Hey, brother Ron, how you doing? You want some watermelon and some cool water? It's hot out here. It's hotter than hell out here, brother Ron." I don't want none of that. I'm not gonna eat y'all watermelon and water. I'll listen to y'all point of view. I'll record it and upload it to my channel. But I have no mistake. I don't mistake y'all for my friends or family. You know, I'm just trying to understand your point of view and also offer people a chance to counter your point of view. But here's the thing. Black folks, the reason why we don't have anything because we want to be with white folks at all costs. We don't know where to draw the line. You understand? Because like I said, you had like the biggest victim of Black Wall Street was Dr. Alvin Jackson, a very successful black surgeon who believed in the Hippocratic Oath. He believed in helping all colors of people get well. They are still using his surgery tools he invented 100-something years ago in surgery today. And yet he was killed like
I just got my money from Andrew Wyatt.
We
ain't too proud to beg. We
ain't about begging. We doing the work. But like I said, what Kevin's saying is people talking about, well, Kevin wasn't the high value man. He was living in somebody else's apartment in somebody else's name. When Malcolm got killed in front of his family, Malcolm had holes in his shoes. Malcolm took a vow of poverty. I had talked to Malcolm's nephew, brother Ronell Collins up in Boston. They got the Malcolm X historic house restored where he used to stay with his big sister, Ella. Ella used to help pay his bills. Ella was the one that sent him to Mecca and stuff like that. But he said his uncle took a vow of poverty to help black folks. There's no money in helping ungrateful people. There's no. Ida B. Wells got ran out the school system because she's there to stand up for black teachers and black students. They ran out the school systems, and the white folks ran out the South 130 years ago when she was 29 years young.
Wow.
Was not protected, had to carry 2 guns. Don't tell me that we don't need guns. Ivy Wells had to carry 2 guns on her person at 5 foot tall because she had no protection under so-called law. So black folks, stop all this. Oh man, it's so tragic. You know, like I said, this weekend you dropped a bomb on me, baby. Never forget Black Wall Street when what they did to. Never forget Move in 1985 in Philly, where they dropped the bomb on black folks just because they wanted to live among themselves in sovereign ways. John Africa had a brilliant legal mind. Mumia Abu-Jamal wanted John Africa to represent him in court because whenever John Africa went to court, he got off. He knew the white man law better than the white man knew his own backhand. That's why they killed John Africa. It was a black mayor, John Wilson No Good was the mayor. And every time they put his sign up on the street, they tear that sign down. Because they're going to be a part of this obituary, killing a lot of no black folks to get murdered, women and children, innocent women and children. You talk about the Branch Davidians. We got Black Wall Street and Philadelphia in 85. Move. Never forget. And that happened in May. And Move happened in May. Just like Black Wall Street happened in May. When they dropping bombs on black families and neighborhoods.
They always want us to forget our story, and y'all black folks, y'all do it too. And I'm talking to the ones that forget it, not my viewers, because they don't forget it. But I'm talking to the ones who act like they just living in bliss, like everything just been okay.
Right.
And yeah, it is some good people, but you know what they say about that one bad apple in the bunch? That one piece of fruit in that basket can make all the other fruit turn bad. Don't y'all ever forget that. This has been lovely. I'll be on tomorrow with Pamela Driscoll. I hope I said that right. She's from BT's American Gangster Trap Queens. She's appearing on that show in June. You know BT, you know American Gangster, you know the Trap Queens.
That's right.
I'm having a conversation with her tomorrow. Perhaps me and Ron will be on again for Hot Topics on Sunday.
I might be eating some barbecue and watermelon in front of white people. I don't know.
He live his life fairly.
And some Juneteenth ice cream. I'm find out on eBay or something. I'm gonna get that.
Ron, I'm gonna go read a book, brother. I got 4 books from different. I got 4 presents of books, and after tonight, just you bringing in these facts, I got some reading to catch up on.
That's right. I'm an angry black man. I'm proud of it. It's good to be angry.
Well,
My
we
blood
love
pressure is regular now, by the way. I don't have no high blood pressure anymore. So it's good to be angry.
We love you guys and thank you so much.
y'all
Don't
more,
forget
man.
to
Thank
like this video. Leave us
Like
some
it.
comments
It's a classic.
underneath the video outside of the live
Classic.
chat. Share this video with a friend because everybody want to hear about Bill Cosby. So share. Don't be petty. You can send us a cash app still because this show is still going on. People on YouTube, you can send us super chats.
That's right.
We appreciate it, and we ain't too proud to beg because if y'all knew the work we put in, but it's not work to us because we love it, but it is work, but it ain't work.
It's a labor of love, but yeah, it's
a labor of love, and we really do.
Mm-hmm. We put the work in. We put the work in, buddy.
It's like we afraid to leave us on run. It's just like we had a good time.
We're a good team. It's like Marvin Gaye and Timmy Terrell, my cousin Marvin Gaye.
And don't forget, don't go out acting a fool if you ain't got this card, okay? And I'm sure most of my viewers don't have this card. Remember, play it safe.
That's right.
And Ron, you know what? We out of here.
All right, peace out.
I'm not even here no more. We're gone.
Greetings, family. This is Brother Ron. Want to make a minor, maybe not so minor correction. Last night on the show, I said the doctor who got killed or lynched in Tulsa during the race riots or the race massacre, Black Wall Street race massacre, I kept on saying he was Dr. Alvin Jackson. I stand corrected. I meant to say Dr. Andrew Jackson. He also went by Dr. A.C. Jackson. So please forgive me. I know we're very critical of our people when we get little things wrong. You know, New York Times and the Wall Street Journal could get stuff wrong all the time and offer retractions and nobody question their official stories. But I just want to make sure I said it right for this righteous ancestor. And I want to give you a little bit more background on Dr. A.C. Jackson or Dr. Andrew Cheeston Jackson, the most prominent victim of the Black Wall Street Massacre in Tulsa, Oklahoma of 1921. And here we go. Thank you. And this comes from blackwallstreet.org. Thank you so much for this info. Prominent professionals like Dr. Andrew Cheeston Jackson transcended, if only temporarily, the color line. Dr. Jackson christened the most able Negro surgeon in America by the Mayo brothers of Mayo Clinic fame, treated patients of all races. The most prominent Tulsan killed in the riot was Dr. Jackson, a 42-year-old surgeon living at 523 North Detroit Avenue, according to Jackson's white neighbor, former police commissioner, and retired Judge John Oliphant. Dr. Jackson had raised his hands to surrender to a group of whites when two of them shot Dr. Jackson dead in what Oliphant called cold-blooded murder. He was born to Captain Townsend D. Jackson and his mother, Sophronia, in Memphis, Tennessee, in February of 1879. Dr. Jackson was the youngest of three children. Both of his parents were former slaves, with Sophronia being from Texas and Townsend from Georgia. The couple met and married in Memphis a few short years before their daughter, Minnie Mae, was born in 1875. Dr. Jackson graduated from Meharry Medical College in Nashville, practiced for a while in Tulsa and Claremore, Oklahoma, then trained as a surgeon in Memphis, Tennessee. His work was such that he attracted the attention of the Mayo brothers, and in 1919, he returned to Tulsa as a specialist in chronic diseases and surgery for women. Dr. Jackson lived on what was one of the most exclusive blocks in all of Greenwood. His neighbors included Booker T. Washington High School principal E.W. Woods, Tulsa Star publisher A.J. Smitherman, and physician R.T. Bridgewater. Dr. Jackson created some of the most innovative surgical tools that are still being used today, post-modifications, and surgical and technological advancements. Surgical students the world over have been influenced by this great surgeon's contribution to the medical community. Why Dr. Jackson, one of the gentlest of men, will have been singled out is not known. Perhaps he was mistaken for the more outspoken Smitterman or Bridgewater. Perhaps he was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. The riot had all but died down, Oliphant said, when Dr. Jackson came walking toward me with his hands in the air. "Here I am. I want to go with you," he said. A body of about 7 men, all armed, intercepted him, and 2 young fellows fired on him. He fell to the ground, and one of the men fired again. Others detailed that Dr. Jackson died tragically in the 1921 Tulsa race riot, the Holocaust, the worst of the so-called race riots in early 20th century America. Gunned down by a white 14-year-old teenager while surrendering at his residence. Dr. Jackson, lacking medical attention, bled to death. Dr. Jackson's killers were never identified. May God continue to bless the legacy and the memory of this righteous ancestor, Dr. Andrew Cheeston Jackson. We love you madly. Ashe.
Hey everybody, this is Brother Ron. I am asking you all to do me a big favor. Think about supporting the We All Be movement. Your donation is tax deductible. The We All Be Group Incorporated is a recognized 501c3. And I'm just asking you all because I want to keep on bringing y'all quality work through the way that I know how to do best. And I'm going to sing my praises and toot my horn. A lot of y'all were not hip to Dick Gregory until Brother Ron brought him on the We All Be platform, until that Django review we did. Y'all seen another side of Judge Joe Brown, and Judge Joe Brown's message has been amplified. But it was We All Be that brought Judge Joe Brown to y'all back in 2014. And so many others. And we covered so many things. So help us out so we can help you all. Peace.